Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tanks Invest. Talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's items only, the investment talk today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. First, just want to say happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you're a great week so far. With respect to recording time of 9:22 a.m. on the Eastern time, Ethereum currently trade $3,345, up about 1.62% so far. With respect to the CPI report that came out earlier this morning at 8:30 a.m. on Eastern time, I was doing a little bit of research and reading up on the report. On a high-level synopsis, the consumer price index posted a smaller than expected increase in August, right? And some of the high-level key points I want to mention, in case you don't want to read the report, is that the consumer price in August has risen by 5.3% from a year ago and 0.3% from July. And both totals were slightly below the market expectations, which with that affectation subsequently depreciates the US dollar, which means that the value of US dollar decreases, which subsequently will have an anti-correlations on driving the stock prices on the equity side and the futures subsequently to go higher, right? And also if you strip out the food and energy cost in a more adjusted basis, the consumer price index was up just about 0.1% for the month. Okay, so high level wise, we are definitely leaning more towards optimistic side of the spectrum, right? With respect to the inflationary pressure, seems to be a little bit more calm, than expected. Which as we know has been driving some fear mongering among investors, right? So this is definitely a good sign, a logical gradual progression that as we are shifting towards a more of a normalized economy going forward. So with that affectation, subsequently will drive up the equity market to go up. As you can see, with respect to SPY, we are currently up about 0.75%. Nasdaq still, kind of trading on a sideways fashion, normalizing right now at down 0.7%. But we should be seeing some green pressure as the market opens. SPY is a little bit more prominent on the S&P side, S&P 500, currently up about 0.25% so far. While on the crypto side, knowing the fact that with respect to the US dollar depreciating, it will have also another anti-correlation effect, right? People would be more incentivized to buy assets that are appreciating with that anti-correlation effect, right? So with respect to some of the news that, in addition to the CPI report, that's driving the market catalyst, on a news front, I would say there are a lot more regurgitation news and some, frankly, pump news that I want to talk about that I've been collecting for the last 3 hours so far, ever since I woke up this morning, and also doing some research on the CPI report at the same time. So CoinDesk, about 24 minutes ago, talking about with respect to the value proposition of Ethereum going forward, right? It's basically another pump news, talking about with respect to the 2.0, the London fork debut that we've had, what has been some of the incremental changes that we've had on the infrastructure side, on the technological side, and what would the price, as we burn more of these Ethereum going forward, how is that going to triangulate and translate into a price projections going forward, right? So it's an informative one, but obviously with their depictions more leaning towards a persuasive side of the house. So something you have to read with a grain of salt, right? Because ultimately, we have to understand the incentives behind the author. Why is he or she, writing this article at this time in this fashion at the moment, right? They must have a point of view, right? Another news coming from Bazinga, and again, Bazinga has been just pumping the market dramatically in the last 3 days so far. We've been keeping tabs, right? When all the media application companies or media publication companies have been relatively just, chilling on the weekend on Sunday, we saw like 7 consecutive news coming from Bazinga pumping Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum. And we see another one today, came out 3 hours ago, talk about Cathie Wood on her reiteration on the $500,000 price target for Bitcoin in 5 years from now. But with respect to Ethereum, Dogecoin, and other coins, Cardano and Solana, she does not talk anything about that specificity on the price target going forward. But so it's interesting to know, but you know, it's another regurgitation. We've heard, I believe in a conference earlier, Kathy Wood said that Bitcoin should technically hit 125,000 by the end of 2021, or in early Q1. As obviously the corporate adoptions and the globalizations for cryptocurrencies get further adopted going forward, right? So it seems like with respect to the 5 years reiteration, $500,000 it's something we've heard before, right? She said something about 450 before, but I think 500 is just another pump news, just to hype up the market. With the CPR that comes out today, seems like someone knows something ahead of time, to try to basically jerk the market again, right? Which we are oftentimes in this type of mental game. It's like a mental jungle gym that we're in every single day. Try to basically triangulate all of the news, detecting which one is BS, which one is not. And we can tell some of them are, obviously a little bit more embellished than others, if we have been keeping tabs, right? And I've been keeping tabs, and I can tell some of the media affectation companies are definitely leaning more one side of the spectrum. So definitely some biasness going on, so it's something we have to be mindful of, right? Another one coming from Cointelegraph about 9 hours ago talked about EY, Ernst & Young, selects Polygon to scale its enterprise blockchain products on Ethereum. So another step of approval from another large institution. EY is a global company, but predominantly in the US for the accounting and audit services, right? They also have their consulting services that they offer. It seems like with respect to this blockchain products on Ethereum, it gives a step of approval that they believe in the value proposition and the technological, substance that Ethereum can bring to the table for the Polygon, right? So with respect to the next one, talk about Ethereum Foundation backs Spruce vision for decentralized identity verification. So another stamp of approval from another established corporation, if you may. So something that we appreciate, as we get further corporate adoptions for Ethereum-based products going forward. Another one talking about on Bazinga again, 12 hours ago, with respect to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin stay subdued, but holders are unfazed by the recent sell-off. Obviously, this is a news talking about with respect to the sell-off that we saw earlier. I would say, what was the date again? On the 7th of September, we sold down from the 4,000, crashed all the way down by basically $1,000 to $3,011, I recall, that we subsequently rebounded. And ever since then, we've been kind of hovering on a sideways fashion, right? And the holders that we are currently, keeping the price level to go up right now is mainly driven by public investors. It's not by whales, right? So we know that's the side of the imbalance that we have in the market dynamics at the moment. So they're basically regurgitating that the holders, which are AKA the public investors, are still holding off for long term. But ultimately, with respect to the market supply dynamics wise, like which one has more supply power, obviously it's the whales, right? And we know that they bought in at the $2,750, $2,600, that, with respect to the market cycle, are they incentivized to sell off going forward? We don't know. We have to keep an eye out on. But if we believe in the long-term fundamentals, we believe in the market cycles, we need to know that we are going to go through the oscillations going forward, right? So something we're going to dive into the cheat sheets in a bit, right? So another one on the crypts, talking about with respect to Solana NFT market cools off following a late summer surge, right? So this is something we have been talking about, right? Solana, if you take a look at it right now, we have been, we hit the peak at $215 and subsequently immediately crashed down because that was not a level that was sustainable. We were not breathing at all. We had no oxygen in Mars at the time. And subsequently, when we hit Mars, we sold off completely. The rocket basically crashed. And we've been selling off. And we are forming a death cross at the moment. So we see more selling pressure, and again, right, with respect to first level consolidation would be the $145, $142 level, right? So I'll still wait off. We're still gonna see more selling pressure going, despite obviously the whole market going up today with the CPI report results that we have earlier today, right? So the next one is talking about respect to Ethereum again, on Decrypt 17 hours ago. 2 billions of flows into Ethereum project Arbitrum. So this is another regurgitation on something that we have heard prior. So this is another news that talks about with respect to some of the tokens and NFT commercialization adoptions. But this article on Decrypt talk about the $2 billion flows. It shows the concentrations of this $2 billion mostly to farm Nyan meme tokens. And the farm Nyan meme token is basically, it looks like a cat wrapped around by a toaster strudel with like a rainbow in the back. So seems like there are more artistic cultivations and commercializations for these type of NFT investments. Um, Again, I'm not really an investor in arts nor in NFT type of arts forms. So it seems like there's an interesting type of market activity with this relatively sizable, you know, monetary flow of $2 billion for something like this, right? Another one talks about with respect to the Litecoin host that we saw yesterday. We saw Litecoin surge about 30%, 31% to be more specific, and subsequently crashed down because Walmart has made, a statement, a public statement states that there is no relationship with Litecoins. So this is probably another media manipulation, a whale, basically tap on the shoulder of one of the publication companies, an unknown one, saying that, oh, Walmart's going to be using Litecoin for that specific ones. It seems like this is probably, put yourself in the whale shoes, right? You tap on someone's shoulders, a media affectation companies, you pay them a cut in like a bribery type of form, right? Obviously behind closed doors. And you say that, you give them a false news, right? And then next thing you know, they release a news putting Walmart's name, as a pseudo stamp of approval to subsequently, jerk the market to go up. And next thing you know, when you up 30%, you sell from the top. Right? It seems like it was obviously some fishy activity going on, right? Someone was trying to liquidate Litecoin, if you may, in the black market. So definitely something that is, fraudulent based on my speculation. Ultimately, I'm not a detective. I don't have clarity or transparencies into this, but it was obviously very fishy, right? Nothing ever goes up that promptly or suddenly, you know. But we know that Walmart and Amazon are looking for a product manager to be taking the lead on crypto assets adoptions and integrations for their business models going forward. But this is obviously something that's unfortunate for those that actually chase the pump, and I hope that people were cautious. Sometimes it's better to stay away and not doing anything than to do something. But I get it because we want to be controlling, and when you do something or take an action, you psychologically think that you are doing something for the greater goods by implementing, but actually, in actuality, is not really the case. I think sometimes the more you do, the worse in results you might potentially get, right? So with respect to the technical analysis for Ethereum, and sorry for running off on tangent again, a lot of news cultivated this morning. Currently, we're up about 2.13% so far. It seems like the MACD is slowly curving back up slightly. However, we still know that the market needs to go through the oscillation. The RSI is still at the 50 level. So again, right, I think the good rule of thumb for RSI is to hit the below 35. So we still have some more room to run to, right? And today was just a affectation from macro side of the house, mainly driven by the CPI report, right? So if we know the fundamentals of the cheat sheet, we are still within the anxiety and denial phase. We know that we're going to go through the oscillation on a sideways fashion. We're going to see some peak. We're going to see some spike sometimes. We're going to see some dips sometimes, right? But we need to go through that oscillation. And the next thing you know, you're going to see denial and panic and capitulation. And these are not surprise to us, right? We know these are expected, right? And for us, with respect to the risk tolerance level that we have right now, for me personally, I'll still wait until the 3,000, 2,750, 2,450, right? But if you bought in like in the recent time, let's say you bought on the spike yesterday, it's okay, just hold, because long term wise, we know that we're gonna go much higher than this, right? With respect to Kathy Wood, she said something about like $500,000, right, for Bitcoin. Technically, that's like 40% of corporate adoption, right? Less than 40%, I would say like 35% from here, right? And with 40%, let's say that they're comparable. That's close to what my price target, right? Close to about like 25,000, right? But if you talk about 40% corporate adoption, that's basically, again, right? If you compare apples to apples, it'll be close to about like $20,000, right? Or 19,600. But nothing's ever that precise, right? This is just a speculations in the quantitative perspective. That's about 7 times your money from here. So hopefully this is helpful. A lot of news, a lot of macro dynamics that's being in play right now, so it can get a little convoluted. But hopefully, by me breaking it down for you guys and also give you that transparency, it can be helpful to help you execute your price levels going forward to further dollar cost average and build that long term value proposition and that capital gains that you're looking for going forward. Really appreciate you. Have a great rest of the Tuesday coming up and stay tuned for this club. Take care. Bye.